Hi guys, and welcome to a new video on Mobile Infotech Review. I'm your host Gesh75, and let's dive into this one. Despite 2020 being a troubled year for all of us, apparently it had no serious impact on the phone business and its consumers, as the most sold phone was the iPhone 11, and even its most expensive sibling, the 11 Pro Max, made it into the top 10 of 2020. Of course, the most highlighted devices of that year were indeed the iPhone 11 models and its Android rival in terms of popularity, the Galaxy S20 series. Two very good phones each in their own right, followed only by the bombardment of OnePlus coverage, which gets a lot of exposure stateside nowadays. All good choices again, but after years of enjoying my preferred smartphones, the great line of Xperia smartphones, I found myself in need of something fresh, something new, something innovative, but also cutting edge. A phone capable of embodying all of that into a single device. With all that in mind, I went for this. This white beauty is called the Xiaomi Mi 10 Pro and comes with everything that made an Android phone top drawer in 2020. The construction consists of a metal and glass sandwich body with a thickness of only 9mm. Inside it runs the fastest chip on Android phones from last year, the Snapdragon 865. And even though technically the souped up 865 Plus version is supposed to be faster, the Chinese brand fitted it with a sophisticated copper constructed heat pipe configuration for heat dissipation, allowing its 865 chip to run much faster and cooler for longer sustained periods of time. And with that, closing the gap with the 865 Plus variant found in other phones. Basically, it ekes out a little more power than its competitors with the same chip. The fast-performing chip was complemented with 8GB of RAM and standard 256GB of non-expandable storage with dual SIM capability. Looking at its front, it got fitted with a 6.67-inch full bezel-less display with curved edges on the sides that further accentuates its high-end status in terms of Android flagships. Being a flagship, of course it is based on AMOLED technology with a 90Hz refresh rate display, with outstanding brightness and color reproduction courtesy of Samsung, with optimization and calibration done by Xiaomi themselves. In the top left corner, it has a small punch hole in the display housing a 20-megapixel wide-angle selfie camera. Ah yes, 2020, the year that saw the standardization of such punch holes in displays. The screen also came fitted with an in-display fingerprint sensor, something that proved quite useful in 2020 for obvious reasons. On both the top and the bottom of the device, it is fitted with the loudest dual speaker setup in any phone that year, as quoted by Mr. Flossie Carter. Turning our attention to the back of the device, we find one of the Mi 10 Pro's truly flagship features, its high-end camera setup, which features a 108-megapixel main lens with a bright f1.7 aperture, laser autofocus and OIS. A second 12-megapixel telephoto lens with 2x optical zoom. A third lens with yet another telephoto lens with OIS and 3.7x optical zoom. And the final and fourth module featuring 20-megapixel ultra-wide lens. Special camera features include support for full 8K video at 30 frames per second and slow motion with a maximum frames per second of 960. Features that even some current flagships of 2020 don't offer. Another standout feature seemingly common only on Chinese branded phones is the quick charging support. The Mi 10 Pro supports up to a whopping 50 watts wired and 30 watts wireless fast charging, which is faster than a lot of flagships can even achieve wired. This will juice up the 4500 mAh power bank from 0 to 77% in a mere 30 minutes. And indeed, in my own testing, when spending about 20 minutes in the shower, my near-empty phone would go up from 13% to about 63% by the time I was done. As such, it has proven an extremely convenient feature. The last surprising hardware feature that seems to be underrated nowadays is Xiaomi's habit of implementing an infrared sensor on top of all of its devices. Very convenient indeed. So in short, the hardware of the Mi 10 Pro, while impressive, wasn't uncommon for Android phones in 2020. The Galaxy S20 models and OnePlus 8 Pro also had ingress protection, something Xiaomi chose to omit on this device. At 200 grams, the device also is quite heavy, again no different from its counterparts from other brands. And while it did come with a fantastic high refresh rate display, the frames per second topped out at 90 Hz, while the competition again slightly outdid it, topping out at about 120 Hz, although the difference between 90 to 120 Hz isn't especially noticeable. And in fact, 90 Hz is more battery efficient, if anything. So in terms of hardware, the device wasn't perfect. The hardware design, very lovely, very beautifully crafted, made me interested in the device. But the thing that made me pull the trigger after being a Sony fanatic these past few years was the software experience of the Mi 10 series. I'll say this up front, as far as MIUI is concerned, and this goes mainly for the latest two iterations of MIUI, MIUI 12 and MIUI 12.5. In my own experience running this software on my Mi 10 Pro for about a year, I can say it is not only the smoothest Android phone I've used long term, but also the smoothest smartphone UI I've experienced, period. Not only that, the only thing possibly more impressive is its meticulously designed animations and UI elements by the engineers and designers. It starts with the Mi 10's elaborate always-on display capabilities and designs. MIUI 12's launch last year saw the introduction to so-called super wallpapers. Simply put, these wallpapers are integrated into your phone's main screen, lock screen, but also the always-on display as a single flowing experience. Items you interact with daily and multiple times a day. For example, here you can see the latest addition that comes with the new MIUI 12.5 release, called Snowy Mountain Peaks. As you pick up your phone, you are greeted by its always-on display as usual. Double tapping brings you closer with a smooth zoom transition viewing your lock screen. Double tapping again reverts it back to the always-on display. Unlocking your phone with either your face or fingerprint brings you to your home screen, where you can see the mountain in full, again accompanied with a zoom transition animation smooth as butter. Every single time. Very impressive are the speed and the smoothness with which the animations take place. No lag or stutters or artifacts during the transitions. It's all performed effortlessly. Scrolling around on your home screen moves the mountain yet again, and taking a look into one of your folders, if you happen to have those on your home screen, slightly zooms in on the wallpaper as well. This all culminates into a truly unique experience and definitely a party trick for those interested. However, as great of an experience as this is, here is where the truly seemingly obsessive attention to detail comes into play. As you can see right now, it is evening in my area, and the color of the mountain is blue and dark, with stars visible in the evening sky. This, however, changes constantly throughout the day. For example, the appearance is completely different in the early morning, with the early glimmer of sunlight, as you can see, and different yet again nearing the end of the morning, as you can see here, with details of the mountain's color highlighted by the sun with blue slight purple skies as the sun is still rising. Here you can see yet again another color and hue with the clouds more prominent as we enter the early evening, with the mountain displayed very yellowish and the sky starting to darken slightly. And barely 30 minutes after that, we find one of its most dramatic effects yet, which is the sun starting to set, creating a distinctive red almost purple hue, very beautiful and detailed indeed. And as this is all part of a transition, even down to the lock screen, those colors and hues change and show up there as well, which just adds to the experience of running a truly sophisticated OS. Another great example, and my final one on this by the way, is the same kind of philosophy and attention to detail to the Earth Super wallpaper introduced in MIUI 12. But here it is most noticeable mainly on the lock screen, during the rotating Earth animations. Usually during the day you will see the surface of the Earth as the animation is performed. However, at night extra detail is given as to how the planet looks at night. As you can see now that it is evening time, tiny little lights are visible on the dark surfaces of the planet, reminiscent of an evening plane flight when you're flying across a large city from above in the sky, and looking down at its inhabitants. Simply a wonderful sight to behold, as little of a detail as it is. Again, these little nuances and inclusions just emphasize how beautiful the MIUI team have tried and managed to make the user experience on their OS. And this culminates in a unique and engaging experience with nothing even remotely similar found on any other phone. The big secret to this unique and polished user experience, as few reviewers have noted, is that MIUI is the only known OS that is especially optimized to run well on high refresh rate screens. And if that isn't impressive enough in and of itself, this has yet been further optimized in MIUI 12.5, with those resources needed for animations given more priority, which results in better performance in responsiveness, smoothness in animations, and more all-around efficiency. This is truly an impressive feat from Xiaomi, giving its high-end smartphones with high refresh rate AMOLED screens an amazing and unparalleled user experience. Something that was clearly noted by the Oracle GSM Arena, as I call them, and they highlighted that in their findings as well. And I quote, as hinted at on the previous page, "In our subjective opinion, MIUI 12 has the best use of animations we've ever seen on a smartphone. It's also got the best use of gentle nudge-like vibrations made possible by its amazing vibration motor. These short and sweet vibrations occur all over the UI when you interact with various elements and serve you some gentle tactile feedback alongside what you see on the screen." End quote. And indeed, the use of sophisticated animations and transitions is supported by a top-end vibration motor used in the Mi 10 series that is deployed throughout the UI in very subtle ways, like the way the vibrations moderate the amount of pressure you put on the in-display fingerprint sensor when unlocking the phone. And as if the core and stock MIUI experience isn't enough, you also have a wealth of choice in terms of elaborate themes to freshen things up. Themes are one of those things that I miss when using a vanilla Android handset, although Android 12 might ease that experience a little bit in the future, from the previews we've seen so far. Furthermore, MIUI 12.5 is stuffed with all sorts of handy little features, one of which I find myself using every day, which is the Mi browser, and its ability to present any website in dark mode, which is simply brilliant in the morning and the evening when I don't want my eyes burned out. MIUI 12.5 also adds some elaborate features like creating mind maps in the Notes app. Again, a very nice to have feature and another selling point in running MIUI as opposed to other OSs and skins. Does nothing about MIUI suck then? Well, overall not really. Although something truly annoying is the preset battery optimization mode, which can kill apps on the background rather quickly and make some apps unusable for Android Auto. Altering these options, however, in the settings fixes these issues. Also in some countries, ads can be pretty annoying. Global and EU devices releases, in my experience, fortunately are free of this on all Mi models. However, lower-end Redmi models truly get trolled. With that being said, as great as MIUI 12 is, the functionality isn't fully consistent among all Xiaomi devices. But getting back to specifically the case of the Mi 10 Pro, and its sibling, the regular Mi 10, you will enjoy the best experience MIUI 12.5 has to offer. And as a sneak peek, I can tell you that this is of course continued in this year's Mi 11 models, one of which the Mi 11 Lite 5G, which I'm hoping to test next. Hit the like button and the sub to this channel would be appreciated, and also this way you won't miss out on any of my future videos. Well, as far as all other awesome things MIUI 12 related, I would like to refer you to my previous full Mi 10 Pro review, as I go over all of its quirks and features in that video. As to the content on this video, I believe our next stop are the cameras. Simply put, the cameras are amazing on this device. You see the 108 megapixel main module on the back was lifted straight from the S20 Ultra, and it is the same module present in a slightly different form on this year's S21 Ultra and last year's Note 20 Ultra. As you can see, this camera is truly flagship grade with great picture quality during the day and also good performance in low light, as you can see in these pictures. The versatility of the zoom lenses and the ultra-wide are also quite well rounded and puts it in line with other flagships. We have support for 8K video and slow-mo of up to 960 frames per second. The selfie cam is also alright, not really standing out from other flagships. The only thing it truly lacks, like other Chinese branded smartphones even today, is lack of 4K resolution support. With that said, we've arrived at the final stop of this long-term review. So here's my conclusion. The Mi 10 Pro then, in my experience, combines some of the best hardware of 2020 with a certainly for Android unprecedented user experience, all due to MIUI 12.5 that culminates this into a single awesome device. With top drawer experience that is further rounded off with a great versatile camera, great stereo speakers, and truly fast charging. At its initial release in Europe, its asking price was €1,000 for the Pro model and $799 for the regular model. Big difference with the regular model were lower fast charging speeds of 33 watt compared to 50 and no telephoto zoom lenses. Instead, those are replaced with two 2 megapixel sensors, one depth sensor and a 2 megapixel macro sensors. The prices of both of course have come down, with the Mi 10 Pro now available for around 600 to 800 euros, and the regular Mi 10 can be had for well below 500 euros on Amazon. I'll put some links up in the description. If we take a quick glance at the opposition from 2020, which was mainly the iPhone 11 Pro, Galaxy S20 Plus and the OnePlus 8 Pro, all of them have ingress protection and a higher pixel density, with the iPhone slightly higher than 1080p resolution and the Droids exceeding that by both having a Quad HD resolution. But in all honesty, quality of all of these panels is in total very much on par with each other. The major difference then is made in the user experience. Coming back to the iPhone for a second, even though it only renders at 60 frames per second, it is very well optimized and therefore feels overall smoother than the two other Droids, despite them having high refresh rates. With Samsung's One UI inconsistent and unpolished animations, and in OnePlus's case, Oxygen OS simply speeding everything up by minimizing the amount of frames used and shortening animations, which is why it feels very fast but not nearly as polished and refined as the interaction experience you get in the iPhones and certainly high refresh rate Xiaomi's running MIUI 12 and up. That being said, all in all its rivals were and are more expensive at the moment, which is why I think the Mi 10 Pro but also its regular sibling the Mi 10 still deserves your consideration even 1 year on. And this is again the phone of choice if you want the smoothest operating Android device, the first one I've used that even exceeds iPhones in this aspect. The only Android phone coming close that I can think of is Google's Pixel 5. To me though, the Mi 10 Pro truly offered the best smartphone experience of 2020, possibly only outdone by its Ultra sibling, which sports a 120Hz panel, but was a China-only release unfortunately. But in this case, the regular Mi 10 and Pro models are enough to experience a top-class user experience and smartphone experience overall. Truly impressive smartphones are the ones that manage to impress and even improve a year on from their initial release dates, and the Mi 10 family truly adheres to that. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. Stay tuned and don't forget to be subscribed and ding the notification bell so you will be updated when my next video goes up.